Anthem TV, a free streaming digital community. With a click of a mouse or a tap on your phone, you have instant access to free TV shows, movies on demand, music, pay-per-view events, and so much more. Download Anthem TV on your smartphone, smart TV, or any streaming device and enjoy instant access. Subscribe and download Anthem TV today.
Good afternoon, San Antonio. I am Nathaniel Villarreal. I am host of The Grind. A lot of is going on. There's a lot of interesting things that took place last evening. I spent the evening with a few friends. We had a discussion about AI and a discussion about the BRICS report that I talked about yesterday, and an event that we're planning that we're going to discuss a little bit later in the program with the Northwest Business Alliance, which is just launched, and we're very excited to bring that to the Northwest and Greater San Antonio area. If you've been following the politics of today, you've noticed that we're getting closer and closer till the election day. And it seems that the attacks on both sides, the rhetoric on both sides, are really ramping up. There was a sit-down that was a televised sit-down that was taped, obviously, with Bret Baier last night and the Vice President, Kamala Harris, who's also the candidate for the presidential election in 2024 and November 5th. And we're going to get into it a little bit later, but what was really interesting about it is that I have to commend her. I have to say, Kamala Harris, Vice President, it took some courage to sit down with Bret Baier and the Fox Media organization. I know it probably wasn't easy. Some of her, advisors, told her not to do it. And, I'm glad that she finally, had, I guess, the wherewithal to understand that she could probably reach a new audience because a diverse group of individuals tune into Fox News. After all, it is the most watched news channel in America. We'll get into that a little bit later, but in the local news, there's a lot of great things that are going on. Let's just go ahead and get to it. So if you like Washington, D.C., there is going to be possibly a direct flight from San Antonio to Washington, D.C. One of my best friends who I went to college with, Stefan the Great, right? He lives in D.C. now, and he flies back and forth to San Antonio to take care of his auntie, who is unfortunately been diagnosed with cancer. I believe it's leukemia. So for him, it would be really convenient because sometimes he has to hop planes and go back and forth. And so I think it would be a good thing. But why DC to San Antonio? Is it political? Don't we have still a pending lawsuit with Southwest Airlines suing the San Antonio National Airport over a lease? Maybe. But I think it is interesting that, as San Antonio continues to expand and grow, that we are starting to add destinations like DC on a one-way nonstop. I think that's pretty cool, really, really interesting. And it would give me, I guess, a little bit more of an incentive to visit DC more often, not to just go there and visit with some friends, but, obviously to take my son and my daughter to the monuments and to see where democracy takes place. Local news. Obviously, it's never easy to talk about, and we'll see if I can remove some of these things. It's never easy to talk about the loss of life, or it's never easy to talk about and report the news. Sometimes the news can be negative. It's sensationalism, but it's important to stay informed and to know what's going on in your community. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories that happen every single day, not only in our local communities, but thousands, I guess, maybe thousands of stories, possibly tens of thousands of stories that take place every single day throughout the United States. So right now we're just going to focus on San Antonio, and the search continues for Susanna, which is unfortunately taking place at a landfill, and her former husband is still in custody and probably not going to be released, as he's going to face federal charges for an illegal sawed-off shotgun. It's unfortunate that those types of things are still taking place in our society. However, with awareness, domesticated awareness, it's never tolerated. It should not be tolerated. And maybe we can use her story to bring awareness to those that may be suffering from domestic abuse or spousal abuse. There was a man charged with highway intoxication assault last night off 410, and let's just face it, we have a problem with highway intoxication. It seems like every other day there's always some sort of incident with a wrong way driver causing an accident, leading to the needless loss of life. I believe 2 weeks ago, right outside of Leon Springs, off of I-10 Dominion exit, a man and a woman who were pushing their car off the road were hit by an oncoming vehicle, and unfortunately, that man did not survive. It's just horrible, horrible thing. So, if you know you're going to be out having a good time, having too much of a good time, having way too many drinks, get an Uber. It's an extra charge, absolutely, but it's just the safe and the right thing to do. A body of a shot victim, it took place October 6th, was identified as Chance Allen. I can't pronounce his last name. Gorelwitz, 20 years old. He was shot multiple times on the north side. An apparent drug deal gone bad. And, these types of things are happening more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And, is it really worth it? Is it really worth getting high to put your life on the line? To possibly lose your life, not only by being robbed or shot, or by taking something that your body doesn't agree with. It's just unfortunate, guys. Unfortunate. But these are the things that are happening in San Antonio. We also have the babysitter who has been charged in the dog attack that took the life of a 1-year-old toddler who was left in her care. She will be in civil court today, awaiting her fate. Obviously, the loss of any child or the loss of anyone is not something that is easy to report or easy to talk about. But it's important that these stories don't fall behind or get lost because, who is going to speak for these individuals? So I hope that what comes out of all of this awfulness, all these sad stories is something positive. I hope we can spread the word that domestic abuse should not be tolerated. I hope we can spread the word that if you see anything like that seems suspicious, that you have the courage to speak up. Or if you know that one of your friends, or that you shouldn't be drinking and driving, have the courage to say, hey, I think you should take a cab. Or if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, just awareness about your surroundings, and accountability. That if you're going to have the care of a little boy or a little girl in your house, that you're held accountable. And if you have dogs that maybe an aggressive breed, that it's probably not a good idea to leave them alone, and it's probably not a good idea for you to leave. It's not a good idea, obviously, what could happen. But I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on the things that are going on in San Antonio. Obviously, these stories are not positive, and we always try to keep a positive format here towards the end, but it's important to stay informed as we move on. The presidential election is not just the presidential election. You have a lot of things that are taking place. You have a lot of the city charters that are going to be elected, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the program. But there are some important things that you need to know. The early voting runs from Monday, October 21st through Friday, November 1st. That means you can vote at any polling station, right? Now, there are hours of operation, obviously, but it's important that you do go out and you exercise your right to vote. I have to say that you're not allowed to wear anything that may insinuate that you were voting for one candidate or the other. You can't show up with a MAGA hat. You can't show up with a Kamala shirt. You can't show up with anything. And even tattoos. I hear they're turning people away in Georgia or in early polling sites that have tattoos of Trump on them because it could influence somebody else's decision, which is, I guess, a good thing. And I guess maybe also kind of a denial of freedom of expression. I'm not sure how that law works, but use some common sense. Don't show up with a big red shirt or a big blue shirt. I mean, they're going to turn you away. That I've seen that happen. I've been voting in elections obviously since 18, and I'm in my 40s now, and every now and again, you get some nut job out there that think that it's okay and like they're infringing on your rights. Like, look, trying to keep the election as clean as we possibly can as voters. I mean, obviously the candidates are slinging mud, but just exercise common sense. Don't draw attention to yourself. Don't try to sway somebody else's opinion or somebody. If it's decided, it's decided. I know that there will be individuals out there that are going to be stumping, so to speak, for their candidate right outside the polling station. That's their right to do so, but I usually just ignore them. And, if your mind's made up, it's made up, and mine is made up. You also Saturday, October 26th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, October 27th, noon to 6. And Monday, October 28th, it's going to be the same time, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at polling stations. It's important. Get out there and vote. If you register to vote and you voted in the primaries, go out and finish, right? This election, and they say it every single year, is the most important election of our lifetime. And let's be honest, it probably is. It probably is. And if you don't vote, you don't matter. Greg Brockhouse, former city council member, and former mayoral candidate, is bringing the broadcast to Anthem Television. This is huge. This is good. This is a game changer. Brock and I have met on a few occasions, actually several occasions. And, we've had lunch and we talked about, the broadcast, and I've seen some of the episodes. It's really amazing to see somebody who can engage with someone who has opposing views and have a discussion about the things that are affecting our city. Like, how do you affect change? Like, how do you enact change? It's by having a civil discussion. And this is one of the things that we talked about when we had lunch. I think it was late July, early August. The only real way to affect change is to sit down and to go into the communities that may not understand where you come from politically or even emotionally or spiritually, and to have a meaningful conversation. Now, obviously, October 20th is on a Sunday, and the broadcast, which premieres on Anthem TV at 7:30 p.m., will be streamed and televised on all of our social media outlets. You can also stream it on the app, which is available for download on iOS and on Google and Android. And obviously, if you have Roku or if you have Fire Stick TV or Twitch or X, whatever it is, we're going to broadcast the broadcast, which should be interesting. And what he's going to discuss is one of the charter changes that are on the ballot. I mean, do you think that the city council members should receive a 53% pay increase with the rise of violent crime, with the rise of, the cost of living here in San Antonio? Do you think that term limits should be longer? There are a lot of things that are going to be discussed on the broadcast, and I feel it's going to be an objective conversation. Me personally, I don't believe that you should sustain long-term growth by asking taxpayer dollars to pay for civic leaders. I do believe that the military should be paid more. I do believe that educators should be paid more. I do believe that individuals that are playing a crucial role in government should be paid more. But I don't think that a 53% increase is the answer. I think maybe a small increase can be discussed. Maybe incentives for accomplishing tasks and goals, or meeting the budget, or being under budget. Maybe those things can be discussed. But just saying we're going to vote on and giving ourselves pay increase and then approve for longer term limits doesn't really solve anything. So tune in on October 20th. The broadcast, 7:30 p.m., should be one for the ages. We're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to troll the spin on X and probably Facebook. So stay tuned.
Innocent people are unexpectedly injured. You are not alone. One man has made it his mission to fight for you. With millions recovered for his clients and over 20 years' experience handling injury cases, he'll ride with you till the end. If you or a loved one have been injured in a motor vehicle crash or on the job, Marco Crawford Law is the firm you want to choose.
Looking for more exposure? You're in the right place. Meet the Northwest Business Alliance of San Antonio, your go-to network for business growth. Imagine being connected to like-minded professionals, sharing resources, and boosting your visibility, all without breaking a sweat. Joining is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Pick your level, create your profile, and boom, you're connected. And the best part? It's free to join, but that's not all. Members get real value, multiple platforms, content, exclusive events, industry insight, TV exposure, and more. We've got proof and data to back it up. So, why go it alone when you can thrive together? Unlock new opportunities, connect with like-minded professionals, and take your business to the next level. Join the Northwest Business Alliance of San Antonio.
Welcome back. I'm Nathaniel Villarreal, host of The Grind. We're getting better at doing the switching. We're a one-man crew right now, and as we grow, I imagine it's going to get easier and easier and easier. I like doing the live because I think it's important for people to see that you're not always polished and you're not always, you're not always perfect. And I don't think you have to be to get the news out or to get at least your opinion. And that's what this is. These are just my opinions. So if you have anything negative to say or anything or any constructive criticism, remind yourself to be tactful. I'm not here to sway you one way or the other. I'm here to just give you my opinion and to let you guys know what's going on, not only in our community, but regionally and nationally. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to one of my favorite parts, and we're going to go to the spin. We're going to troll the spin, right? What does that mean, trolling the spin? Well, a lot of news media outlets out there, a lot of individuals out there like to also have opinions. And then they, by having their own opinion, like to kind of influence people's decisions. So let's take a look. So shock jock radio host, Mr. Howard Stern. Did you see his movie? I thought it was okay. I really didn't understand it because it came out when I was really, really young. And I only watched it because AC/DC was performing. But it was kind of funny. It's definitely not, for children. But this guy who had Donald Trump on his show numerous times is demanding that all Trump supporters must stop listening to his radio show. Now, I think it's simply just for dramatic effect. I don't think necessarily that he really wants, a third of his listening base to just drop him, maybe a third, maybe a little bit less than that, to drop him. I think he's just doing this just to boost his numbers because I hear his ratings are way, 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 way down. And I don't think he's relative anymore. So this may be a way for him to become relative. I'm not really the biggest fan of Howard Stern. I mean, some of the things that he does is now, I'm not questioning his morality or his ethics. I just don't find it funny anymore. I think it's kind of grotesque, to be honest with you. I think it's a little over the top, and I'm just not interested. So I definitely won't be tuning in to the Howard Stern show. I never have. So I guess that's okay. Oh my goodness. This was devastating. We're gonna let this play here, but like I said earlier, she sat down with Bret Baier, and I have to give her credit. She got destroyed. It was awful. But we're gonna go ahead and play this, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about. We're gonna play back
that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States. Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid?
What
is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people.
What's the other thing we know about this population? And it's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Well, you can't walk that statement back. Now, obviously, that was a question, and I think it was strategically made by Bret Baier. I don't think that the 18 to 23-year-old population is stupid. I personally don't. I think at times they are ill-informed, they are uneducated, and they make decisions based off their emotions. And you can't always make a rational decision off your emotions. So it was kind of a gotcha moment. She followed up with it, kind of changing the subject a little bit. Obviously, when you have those sound bites and when you have to answer for the things that you've said in the past, it's really hard to backpedal. And we're going to move on from that because we like to also showcase CNN and NBC, fair and balanced. No, we're not a Fox affiliate. No, we're not. I just like to think that it's okay to be objective. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to speak. It's okay to break bread across the aisle. It's okay to have a different viewpoint than somebody else. So I do watch all of the other medias just to see, like, what are they actually talking about? And then do they have pundits that are actually Republicans, independents, libertarians, conservatives, Green Party, all of those things. So let's see here. Let's take a look at this one. This one looks pretty good. Harris clashes with Fox News anchor. I'm not finished.
That was a home run because she sent the one message that needs to be sent, which was, I will go anywhere at any time and show the courage necessary to speak to every American, because that's what a real president does. The primary critique against her prior to this point was that she was not doing enough interviews. No one thought that the Fox News interview was going to go swimmingly every step of the way. Everyone knew it would be adversarial, but she showed exactly what she needed to show. Which
Why are they
was
sitting so
she is
close
a
to each
leader
other? That's weird.
ready to be president on day one. That was a home run because she sent the
So,
one.
I mean, I will say that I don't think it was a home run, but I do think that she did show maybe her fellow Democrats that you have to engage the political opposition. You have to do it as part of this process. You have to let those that don't know where you come from or don't even know anything about your stances some insight to what your plan is. I did watch it. It was only 20 minutes, but it seems she was more interested in talking about how terrible Donald Trump is and how we can't go back. We don't want 4 years. Americans don't want 4 more years of Donald Trump, and not really atoning or being accountable for, being a part of what I consider a lemon administration. There are some other things that did take place within the interview, especially when it came to immigration. Like when it came to immigration, Brett Baier asked her, straight up, do you take any responsibility for the 6 million individuals that have come through the border, or do you know what the number is? Do you want to apologize to the families who have lost members, who've been murdered viciously and raped viciously by illegals that came into the country? And she did apologize, and it was very tactful, but she spun really quick, and she wanted to just basically say that Donald Trump is unfit, mentally incompetent, emotionally unstable, and she really didn't reach. I don't think she reached anybody that was undecided. I don't think she talked about her plan. I don't think she talked about accountability, how to solve it. She basically was doing what they're calling in the media projecting. And that's where everything that you're at fault for, you project onto the opposition and say that they're the ones doing it. It's their fault, not mine. That's interesting. I don't think that tactic's working too well because Rasmussen still has her down in the polls. And this is interesting right here. This right here we're going to play. This is another CNN bite. And what's important about it is that they do have a pundit that is more of a Republican-leaning conservative that has a really good viewpoint. Let's listen.
I think this strategy from Harris was a Google strategy. She wanted Fox viewers to start to Google some of the things she was saying, because some of the comments she was making in this interview are foreign to the Fox audience. For example, General Mark Milley saying Trump is a fascist to the core. That's barely been covered on Fox News. So she was able to get some of those talking points in. This was the most adversarial interview Kamala Harris has probably ever done. Instead of getting to debate Trump again, she got to debate Brett Baier. And a lot of viewers are going to come away saying, wow, she's willing to do that. That's a sign of toughness and strength.
Okay. Toughness and strength, I think, is a little bit of a reach. I don't think it was toughness or strength. I think it was, she should have done it a long time ago. Well, that's unfortunate. We'll get to that. But you have, these things that are going on. Death to Israel in Chicago, right? And it was just reported, I'm watching the alerts right now, that the Hamas leader has been killed. And they have confirmed that the leader of Hamas, political leaders in Gaza since 2017, they have just killed him. Israeli forces have taken him out. And it looks like they did this in an effort to deter Iran from any further attacks. We'll get into that a little bit later. But obviously, here it is. Wow. I mean, will that bring us any closer to the end of war? And that's a whole other subject. That's a whole other world. We probably don't have time to get into that. She's raised $1 billion. $1 billion. Wow. That's a lot of money. That's a stupid amount of money. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign has raised $380 million. That $1 billion is not just going all to her campaign. She's spending a lot of that money in Texas. They believe that they can flip Texas blue and take Ted Cruz out. But for someone who talks about we want billionaires to pay their fair share in taxes, why are they saying it's a good thing that she raised $1 billion? She's buying influence. I mean, yeah, a pat on the back for going on Fox News and, I guess going toe to toe with Bret Baier, even though she didn't really answer any questions. She said Trump's evil, Trump's evil, Trump's evil, vote for me. I think $1 billion in a war campaign is an incredible number, but I'm not impressed with, the tech giants and the people that want to keep the same thing going. Higher inflation, higher grocery cost, no affordable housing. They want to keep the same thing going, and we're supposed to be impressed that you've raised $1 billion because your donors think that what's happening right now is a good thing. War, inflation, losing out on competitive jobs to other industries, other nations. I don't know, man. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Hey, the Yankees have, I think, the second highest or the first highest payroll. And, they're playing a team that's right going toe to toe with him. So are the Dodgers, right? It's not always money that wins. We have a couple of more things. We'll go into that one. We'll get into that one. No more Trump. This is the one that I wanted everyone to see because this is important. And this is the last thing we will talk about as far as the trolling is concerned. And obviously, I've showed excerpts from NBC, CBS, and obviously Fox. But this is the man himself. And Bret Baier is pretty fair. He's a pretty fair guy. He asked Donald Trump questions that are pretty hard. He presses the thumb a little bit, quite a bit. So let's just see what happened here. It's about a 30-second clip.
You've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop. So Martha, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these. Madam Vice President, and they're giving me a hard rap.
Well, I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dana, you've been on the other side.
So hard rap means that her senior advisors, she's had about 4 of them, are basically going like this while he's interviewing her. It's not because she had to be anywhere. It's because she was failing to get her message across, and she was bombing hard. If you watch that interview, and you can go on X and you can go on Bret Baier's page, or you can go on YouTube, it may have been, censored a little bit, or it may have been spun a little bit already. But X, you'll see the whole thing on X if you want to. She wasn't doing very well. I commend her for going on Fox News. It's, she walked into not necessarily a setup, but she had to atone for some of the failures of her administration. And I know people are saying, well, she's not president. She's not president. She's not president. Why is Joe Biden saying she's been in the room during every decision making and she's throwing her opinion? And a lot of the decisions that they've made have been influenced also by the vice president. Who knows? But obviously, when Bret Baier was getting the call to wrap it up, it's because she wasn't doing very well. And she didn't do, I think, an effective job to convince individuals that are on the fence why they should vote for her. She just wanted to let people know that Donald Trump is evil and I am the best candidate for your vote. We're going to go ahead and stop right there. There's a lot. You can find out more. We post and repost a lot of people's ideas and ideals on our social media accounts. I think it's important to have an objective and a perspective from all sides, even if they're completely misguided and completely misinformed. I think it's important to have an opinion. We're going to get back to what's going on abroad. We want you to join the Northwest Business Alliance. What is the Northwest Business Alliance? Well, the Northwest Business Alliance is a brand new community that advocates for anybody, any professional that sells a product, a good, a service, has a small business, or wants to be known as an organizer, event organizer. it's available for everybody. We have an event that is going to take place at Gloria's Latin Cuisine, November 9th from 4 to 8. It's free to register. We don't charge you to attend the event. There is a food food purchase option that we will, I think, showcase, I think, either today or tomorrow on Eventbrite. You have to try their tamales. That's where we were last night. We were talking to Marco. Marco was just a very generous, gracious general manager there who said, sure, please, whatever we can do. And I think that's really important. And in business, especially in the economy, and I was talking to a client yesterday that the economy is killing him. And he's a district manager for Cisco, right? And Cisco is a food distributor. And he's like, hey, look, man, like this economy is kicking us in the teeth right now. The cost to go out to eat is pretty excessive because the cost of food is rising and rising and rising. And inflation's ticking up. And we talked about it. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, it's more now seen as a luxury and not as a set of convenience anymore just to go out to eat. Like more and more people are staying at home. And we talked about, well, how are you able to do these things that you're doing? I'm like, people are out there still spending money. Obviously they are, right? I mean, we know that the economy is not where we want it to be. And that's why the alliance is so important. The alliance allows you to shake hands. B2B is a business-to-business networking. It allows you to meet people in different industries. It allows you to let them know that, hey, I'm having a sale. Hey, I know you saw this at this price, but take a look at this product. It allows you to connect. It's more of a grassroots campaign. Yes, we do things in AI as well. We do generated videos. We do a lot of post content. Yes, we do all of those things, but the alliance actually advocates for you. We're going to have a guest speaker who is a candidate for District 8, Saqib. Will be speaking. He's not only a candidate for District 8, he's a business owner, and he is a father and a husband. He's a good guy. I sat down and I talked with him at one of our other events at Conversa Elevated a couple weeks back, and there was no line in his eyes. So he's going to share his insights, what it takes to be a real estate developer. He's huge into real estate, and he's going to share not only his passion for business, but his vision not only for District 8, but for San Antonio. He's a very data-driven individual, and you need those things. So if you go to our page, Facebook page, the Northwest Business Alliance of Greater San Antonio, you can like, and you can also find the link to join the alliance. Now, to join the alliance is absolutely free, right? But if you feel that you want a more of a presence, there are membership packages that start as low as $35 a month, and the amount of services that you get are pretty hard to beat. So we hope to see you there. It's a free event. Gloria's at the Rim is a beautiful, fabulous establishment. The food is amazing. The service is incredible. The atmosphere is perfect. And we're going to have a special guest speaker, Saqib, District 8 candidate in attendance, and hopefully you'll join us too. Doing the right thing. This is my favorite part of the show because some say that people look the other way when it comes to doing the right thing. My grandpa, who was one of my first heroes, told me doing the right thing is hard, but it's the best thing to do. So a man named Skip in Wisconsin, and I got this off the Good News Network, and to give him a shout out because they have some pretty great stories about people doing great things. A man named Skip found $12,000 in an envelope in a shopping cart at a grocery store. Apparently, a 55-year-old lady by the name of Human had misplaced $12,000. It was her life savings. It's all the money in the world she had. She went back to the grocery store where this took place, and they looked everywhere. And they reported that the management didn't find it. They looked at all the baskets, all the carts, obviously devastated. A few hours go by, and a man only known as Skip, comes back. And he says, hey, I found this. Did anyone lose $12,000? He found it in a shopping bag. Can you believe that? 12 grand. Now, I don't know if $12,000 would have dramatically changed his life, but hey, I mean, that's 12 grand. What did he do? He immediately thought to himself, somebody probably lost this. Somebody needs this money. So as a good Samaritan, he went back. And sure enough, yes, the lady was there because management had been called. and her life savings was returned. They awarded Skip $300, just as a gracious thank you. And the manager, Dan, did his thing too. I mean, imagine the network that it took. One person who lost their life savings, trying to buy food or do whatever it is. Like in an instant, just a gasp, just a temporary lapse. Unfortunately, lost her life savings. But then a good Samaritan who has a heart of gold, and not just the good Samaritan, but the management, the people that work at that store, needed to find this lady's money. And, a few hours later, a few hours of indifference, a few hours of chaos, a few hours of probably unbearable torment, because now what am I going to do? A good Samaritan, a kind act, doing the right thing, came back and said, hey, I'm sure she would have done the same for me. Wow. There are still good people on this earth. There are still great stories and positive stories. That is part of the Good News Network .net. You can check them out. They have a lot of great stories about not just acts of kindness, but of groundbreaking research and science and the things that are actually taking place, because we know that the news can sometimes be over sensationalized with negativity. However, this story ends with a happy ending. Sports. Wow. So the WNBA is awesome. Have you watched it lately? You have two great, amazing teams going at it right now. They're in the finals, and the ratings are going up and 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 up. And right now, it's interesting to see how news media outlets are actually starting to pick up. I mean, obviously, we all know that the women's basketball has tremendous potential, and it has picked up momentum, but not like this. I encourage everybody to tune into Game 4. I think it's Game 3, actually. It's best of a 5-game series. Next year, they're going to go to a 7-game format. Cleveland going to play the Yankees. They're not doing so hot. They're down. They're 0-2 right now. I'm not sure it's because of the fall weather. It's harder to play when it's colder. I don't think they have an offense, to be honest with you. They can't put the ball in play. They have some pretty good pitching. They've contained the Yankees to not too many runs, but they just can't find a way to win right now. Ohtani, if you watched the game last night, and I did, I watched the end. It was devastating, bro. Dude left a hanging changeup right over the plate, and he crushed it. I think it was like 455 feet. He just crushed it. He crushed it to right field. It was just devastating to watch. I was like, turn it off. This is awful. They blanked the Mets last night again. The Mets. I'm trying to see the Subway Series, guys. I need the Mets to step up. They're down right now 2-1. And then obviously, if you've been following UTSA football, the Roadrunners aren't doing so good. It's kind of, I mean, it's expected. Last year was a great run. They changed conferences. Obviously, they're playing in a much tougher conference. But my opinion is the NIL and the transfer portal have basically destroyed college football. I know we have the playoff system where more teams are going to get to compete for the national championship, but UTSA can't afford to buy talent. They can't. They don't. So it's kind of hard going right now for the UTSA Roadrunners. Everyone's saying birds up, but right now they're not competing at a very high level. It's just it's unfortunate to watch, and hopefully they can turn around. So tune in tonight for the baseball game, and obviously there's college football going on. I think there's also an NFL game, and there was another game that's going on that I don't care to talk about. And it's the Chiefs and the Niners. Who cares? Yeah, Super Bowl, whatever. Yeah, we all know she's going to be in attendance, and who cares about that, right? No, it's a good thing. Just keep Taylor Swift out of baseball, please. Please keep her out of baseball. Just kidding. Now, a positive quote for today: don't carry your mistakes around with you. Instead, place them under your feet and use them as stepping stones to rise above them. Hey guys, mistakes are okay. When I'm teaching, my students make mistakes all the time. You have to make mistakes. That's how you learn. You have to learn from them, but making mistakes are okay, no matter what age, right? I had a mom in here, and out of respect for her privacy, I'm not going to mention her name, but her son, Austin, and she's a viewer. Her son, Austin, and she gave me permission to use her son's name. suffer from a slight case of autism, right? And his cognitive ability is not fully developed, right? And when we did an evaluation and a consultation, because I love to work with children that have slight impairments. I think that's like why I'm on this earth. Sincerely, I really do. While he was going through the consultation and he was listening to the commands and he was doing everything and he was pouring his heart and his soul into it. And he got a little frustrated when he couldn't complete an exercise. And I said, hey, man, mistakes are okay. That's how we learn. Immediately at that moment, like, mom stopped. She's like, we're in. She's like, I believe the same thing. And I tell him the same thing every single time. Mistakes are okay. That's how we learn. So don't let a mistake hold you back. Learn from it. Use it as a stepping stone so the mistake won't happen again. It feels amazing outside. No, I don't control the weather. No, neither do the weathermen. And hopefully Robert Luna and his crew are giving us updates on the Texas Weather Connection. I know they're really busy right now, but tune into them as well. We also have a wrestling event that's going to take place at Big's Burgers off UTSA and IH10. If you guys don't know, we are proud supporters of the Dog Pound Championship Wrestling Network and the Paragon programming that does all the recording. And tomorrow we'll get a little bit more into it, but it's amazing talent. And if you guys don't know, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, caught myself, is on the way up. You're missing out. Big's Burger Joint, when I first went there, just an amazing facility. Actually, it's not too big, not too small. It's a sellout. The action's really, really good. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So stay up, stay positive, brush yourself off. You make a mistake, learn from it. Be sure to follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media outlets. Download the Anthem Television app. It is free. All you have to do is enter Anthem TV or Anthem Entertainment on your phone in your app store, and it will populate. It doesn't take a lot of data, and it's a lot of good stuff in there. There's music videos, there's showcases, there's shows like this. There's all sorts of stuff going on there. We're only getting bigger, bigger, and better. Tune into the broadcast on October 20th, 7:30, and join us for the networking mixer at Gloria's November 7th with the Northwest Business Alliance. I am your host, Nathaniel Laurel of The Grind, and I will see you tomorrow.
Anthem TV, a free streaming digital community. With a click of a mouse or a tap on your phone, you have instant access to free TV shows, movies on demand, music, pay-per-view events, and so much more. Download Anthem TV on your smartphone, smart TV, or any streaming device and enjoy instant access. Subscribe and download Anthem TV today.